Have you ever questioned the integrity of your government? Have you ever thought that they could be lying to you about certain things that are very important? Well, I found that depleted uranium is a very big issue, and I found that we need to uncover it and tell people about it. Depleted uranium is a byproduct of enriched uranium. It is considered a heavy metal. Depleted uranium, or DU, is made for nuclear fuels and nuclear weapons. It was once stored in big biohazard containers stored in the desert, so nobody could be around it, so it couldn't harm them. DU is mainly used for bullets, bomb shells, missiles, any kind of really explosive that can do some damage. When DU hits a tank, I'm using a tank as an example, when it hits a tank, it puts a hole in the tank and it explodes and then eats everything inside. It just burns it to a crisp. And then it leaves a very hazardous dust chemical residue on the metal. And so it contaminates the food that is anywhere around it. It contaminates the air. It can be airborne, and it contaminates all water. So mostly in Iraq, this had happened in the Gulf War, and so all of their water was contaminated. All the food they were eating was contaminating. They didn't know to not stay off the tanks, so all the children were playing on the tanks. The parents, they were trying to find rations in the tanks, and they were inhaling the dust. They were drinking the water, and a Dr. Asaf Durkovac, he founded the Uranium Medical Research Center, and he has 10 years of research showing the contaminated areas from the Gulf War zones, and he is finding that there are severe birth defects in the Iraq military who were working in the government then, who were fighting in the Gulf War, and now are having children, are having severe birth defects with no limbs, and the British Gulf War veterans are having severe birth defects with their children also. And in 2 or 3 cases in the United States from Gulf War veterans that were contaminated with depleted uranium radiation had birth defects in their children. One of them had no limbs. He came out with no arms. And so our government's saying that depleted uranium isn't harmful and it's not radiation and they wouldn't use that, but they just had an innovative weapon of war. It was a free weapon in them. They could use nuclear waste to put in to make it a highly explosive and very crucial weapon. And so they did that, not telling people the aftermath of it, and they did know it. And so this doctor, he uncovered a lot of it, and he's been searching for years and years and years a way to stop it and a way to figure out how to reverse the cycle of it. But there's still, to this day, contamination in Iraq from depleted uranium. And it's very sad that our government lets this happen. And they let it happen then. They lied about Agent Orange in Vietnam, and so when everybody questioned that, they lied about it and denied it. They did numerous cases. Our government has spread numerous chemicals that have really harmed people and livestock, all their plantations, and killed them. And so this is a big deal, and these doctors had uncovered a lot of stuff about it. And the severe chemical it causes lung disease, kidney disease, skin disease, cancer, chronic fatigue syndrome. And the 60% of all dogs in Iraq have cancer, and the other 40% of them have died off from cancer from depleted uranium. And the water has 300,000 times the amount of radiation than any other water in the world. And Dr. Segwart Horst Gunther, he studied all the contaminated war zones and the toxic areas, and he found that depleted uranium is the cause of all of these effects. He has studied this for 40 years and he has facts proving it all. And so DU, our government used also as a main weapon in the Gulf War. That was their #1 weapon in the Gulf War, and it spread. They sold it to numerous countries, making millions of dollars off of it, and it was just waste for them. And I'm just saying that this is a really big issue because of the deaths it leads to. It's caused many deaths. His team, Dr. Gunther's team, had 40 scientists working there. 39 of them died, and he died, and he was extremely sick within the first week of working on a contaminated tank that they got from Iraq. So this is a really big thing, because when the kids and families are over there rationing and the dogs are walking by a tank, they get contaminated and they're filled with cancer or skin disease. If they reproduce, their children are going to get birth defects. So I find that this is a big issue because the media didn't publicize it very well, because the government told them it's not harmful, so everything you're finding isn't very true. And I found my sources that GulfLink is a very good source. They told me a lot about Dr. Asoff. He's a very good doctor. And America made millions and millions and millions of dollars off this horrible tragedy. This was a very bad thing that they did, and I feel that we should question our government more and know that our government doesn't have any integrity and they will always lie to you.